motivated by awesome guests and also my own content. Today I have Diana Grant back in the studio, back in the room. Your awesome Diana Grant, who is a speaker, author, and a coach on the self love topic. And that's right, today is the first Wednesday of the month, and that's why we are here to speak with you and to you today about how to improve and enjoy your marriage through self love. Diana, I'm so happy you're back in the studio and we are doing this again. How are you today?
Hi, Olga. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm doing so well, and I'm quite excited for this fun chat.
Too, me too, especially considering this important and sometimes quite heavy topic,
Mm,
marriage.
mm.
Because
Absolutely.
to some people it's very heavy and very scary topic, and some people avoid. So I wonder actually,
Mm.
Diana, what is your take on how can we actually improve? Let's start with improvement. How can we improve our marriages through self-love?
Absolutely. Olga, first, I want to just start by saying, in response to what you just said, for some people it is a heavy topic. And for me, it was as well for quite a long time. When I was younger, I didn't actually have grand dreams of getting married ever. And then I met my daughter's father, and we soulmates, and we had a wonderful journey together. And we, after being together for quite a few years, I think 5 years, decided one day on quite a whim. It was his birthday. We just decided to get married, and we had a fabulous time together. We had 11 years of marriage, and 5 years before that, so we were together for a good long time. Eventually, we decided to deconstruct that marriage. And after that, I thought, well, I don't think I'm a marriage person, even though I had actually enjoyed it for the most part. So this is the interesting thing. So often, as you know, as we all know, we create stories for ourselves. So based on the fact that we decided to end that marriage, I then went back to my old ideas of marriage is not for me. And then I went through different relationships and had my experimental times. And when I met my husband that I'm married to now, um, it just felt so definite and so real and so like there was a future with this person. Um, but I still was thinking, well, I'm not really a marriage person. And having coming to live here with him in England required us to have an official partnership. And the easiest way for me to get a visa to stay here was for us to get married. And we went through all the options because he had a similar view. So he thought he's not a marriage person. I thought I'm not a marriage person. And so we went through all the options. We looked at how can I come and live here with him and us not get married. And eventually we gave up and we got married. And it's been an interesting journey. Marriages always are interesting, but definitely in this, my self love journey began in my first marriage. But in this marriage, I've certainly learned the power of self love for absolutely improving what can be challenging. All relationships come with their challenges, and marriage, when it's a full time commitment, you cohabiting with somebody, you're putting two lives together. Um, it really can bring its own challenges. And so going deeper and deeper into self love is where I really realized the power of self love is not just for me, it's for every single relationship and especially my marriage. So that's kind of just like a backstory on how passionate I am about this topic. And I think anyone who ever listens to us knows how passionate we both are about self love. Um, but yes, that's my backstory where I definitely had a view that marriage was not for me. And I've since come full circle and realized how much fun marriage can be. And when times are tough, definitely turning within rather than looking to the other person for the answers or looking to the other person to kind of blame them for
Yeah.
when I'm not comfortable, which I think happens with so many people in relationships and especially in marriage. It's so
Mm.
easy to turn around and say to your partner, but it's your fault. The way that I'm feeling or this situation that we're in, it's your fault. It should be somebody's fault. Whereas when we turn within and really, really dig deep and love ourselves and accept who we are, accept that sometimes we're not the people we want to be in every situation, and love ourselves through that, that definitely helps to improve marriage. So I think I've kind of started answering your question, but there's so much to it.
I can see, and I really love the fact how beautifully you shared your own journey when it comes to self-love. Because some people might watch us right now and think, well, okay, ladies, you are happily married, everything is good for you, but I'm not, right? But here's the proof for you that actually it's very rare when you actually get married and you stay together forever and you are in love 30 years later. It happens, and I know it happens because I've seen these couples. I know these couples personally. But majority of the population in the world that would go through several marriage, right? Two, even sometimes three and four, and even five, right? So what Diana shared right now is her own personal example, how she had to find her self-love in order to really enjoy and to really heal the marriage. And she didn't do it in the first marriage, right? Because first marriage was a bit tricky, first marriage was a bit rocky. And I guess, Diana, it's also about the right person, right? It's also about the right person. But again, we don't really attract the right person unless we are that right person, which again means we have to start with ourselves. So whether you want it or not, but it really starts with your own self-love, which actually heals your self-worth, what heals your confidence. But Diana, can we actually share with those who are watching us right now, might be watching the replay, maybe almost like takeaways, like the steps, almost like the guideline, how exactly what they should do to really improve their marriage with the self-love. Like if you would share something like, I did XYZ, and that raised my self-love within me, and that was radiating through my relationships. Do you have anything to
Absolutely.
that?
Of course, I have a load of tips on that. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. The first step is that when it comes to the right person, is making yourself the right person in your life. And so a very key point in marriage is the opportunity of the mirror. So, and we've spoken about this before, and so I'm just going to mention it again though, is when a situation becomes uncomfortable in your marriage, or you're feeling a certain way, you're feeling um, maybe that you are feeling a bit on rocky ground, or you're not sure what to do next, or you're wondering if you are really happy, or things are not feeling right, look at the situation and first and foremost ask yourself, what is happening within me in this situation? What can this situation show me about myself? And this is the foundation of everything that I share and teach, is always come back to yourself. Because if the minute you feel discomfort, the minute you feel uneasy, the minute you feel any emotion that is off, with it's away from your best self, your best feeling of ease and joy and relaxed living, then as soon as there's an emotion like that that's putting you off kilter, it's an indication that something's going on with you. And yes, there are people in the world who behave really, really badly. Yes, there are people who won't treat you right. Um, However, there's always an opportunity to see what's going on with yourself. And and if it is about the other person, if the other person is behaving badly and mistreating you, then there's an opportunity to see why you attracted that in the first place, and how you can grow stronger in order to move out of that situation or shift the behavior. A very, very key thing is that if two people are in a toxic relationship with each other, where there's some kind of toxic behavior, and toxicity can be at any level. So it doesn't have to be extreme. It can be something where you have a small argument every day, and you've come to a point where you don't like that. So that's something that you've created together as two people. So the first step with loving yourself out of that is to stop and say, well, what is my part in that pattern that we've created together? What am I doing that's part of that? Because at the end of the day, the only person that any of us can actually have full influence over is ourselves. And so looking at that, looking at your role in it, and then seeing how can I change. So if I don't want this small argument every day, for argument's sake, let's say it's an argument about what time you go in the morning, what time you leave the house. One of you is always late, and that always ends up in an argument. Or what is my part in this? And just looking at your own part and taking responsibility for that, you can shift your behavior. And as soon as one of you shifts what you're doing, both shift together, because the other person cannot carry on doing the same thing if you're doing something different. So that's a key thing to learn, is that it takes two to tango. Look at yourself, look at your role in it, and in that space, remember always to be kind to yourself. When we're kind to ourselves, we're able to be kind to each other. And I think, I believe in relationships that is really, really key, especially in marriage. Somebody that you've committed to spending so much of your time with, it's another human being. So, starting with yourself, if you're honest with yourself and kind with yourself, you'll be able to be honest and kind to your partner. And that will go a very long way. Honesty and kindness, they're a classic combination.
Oh, these are so well said and well delivered techniques or tips, shall we call them. But for some people, I can see how it could be very difficult
Mm,
because you mentioned being honest.
mm.
And how many
So,
people are ready to be honest? And you mentioned also, almost like in other words, you can't give what you don't have. You can't be
mhm,
kind, honest if you're not kind to yourself,
mm,
right?
absolutely.
But so many people, they're people pleasers
Mm.
rather self pleasers.
There we go. And Olga, that's such a good point. So often, and here's a challenge to everyone now, here's a takeaway, is going back to that question, what do I want, or what makes me feel good? And I put this challenge out recently as well. I keep doing it because it's very real for so many of us. If you've come from a background of being a people pleaser, knowing what brings you joy and knowing what lights up your day can be really difficult if the focus is always on the other person. And so often in marriage this is the case. And yes, it is quite a female trait. However, there are a lot of men who do it as well. They really want their wife to be happy. That's like a man who's in a marriage, that's his main thing in life. He wants his wife to be happy. And as women, we want our husband to be happy. We want to feel that we're doing right by each other. And in this desperate attempt to make the other person happy, we can forget about our own self. And the
Yes.
message to the partner can constantly be, you're not getting it right. So between the two, there's this, what do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, because the intentions are beautiful. You want to make each other happy, and yet you keep missing the mark. And the key there is to get in touch with yourself at core level again and just say, what makes me happy? What do I like? What does he or she, my partner, do that I like? What works here? And again, it's practicing gratitude as well, and then actually saying thank you to each other.
Mm.
That is so powerful. Just saying thank you, my love. I really loved it when you did X, Y, and Z, whatever it was. It made me feel so good.
Mm.
There we go. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge that to yourself and to each other. But it starts with finding out what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what brings you joy.
I love that. That is so powerful because very often people will say, "Oh, I'll tell you what that doesn't bring me joy. I'll tell you what I don't want,"
Mm,
and they will struggle to come up with what do they want
mm,
and what do they enjoy. So I accept this challenge, and I welcome other people who are watching us right now or watching a replay. By the way, do let us know where you are watching us from today. So I invite you to accept this challenge as well. Accept this challenge as
great,
well. Challenge yourself on that.
great. There's
Yeah.
actually I've got a lovely little free download on my website, which
Ooh.
is just a 7-day journey in order to celebrate yourself. And it is about getting back in touch with joy, with your own inner joy. So it is all about self love. It's only 7 days, and it's just to start getting your mindset back into that thing about how to celebrate me. Just the fact that I wake up every day, the fact that my body's working. Even if there are parts of my body that are not working, there are parts of it that are. Or, it's the little things. And that just gets us geared towards loving the self in a more authentic way. So it's not, self care is a big part of it, of course. I'm all for self care. Self care only takes you so far, though.
Hmm.
If you think of loving someone, think of how you would love your best friend, where you would really go to the ends of the earth for them. And sometimes even when they've not behaved well, say, you know what, you didn't behave well, but that's okay. That's where that kindness comes in again, the forgiveness.
Yeah.
And turning that on ourselves is so powerful. Forgiving ourselves and being kind.
I love that. I love that being kind to ourselves
Mm,
will lead to being kind to others. And that's why when you see people not being kind, you know they have an issue.
mm,
You know they have something happening in their life that actually
mm.
makes them the way they are right now. There's an interesting
Absolutely.
comment from Shashikant on the Facebook. He says, marriage is a teamwork, accommodating partners' views, support each other, stand by with partner, and growing together, expanding own perspective. I
I
love
love
it.
that. I
How
love
good
that.
is that?
And again, I'll get back to what you said just now. When marriage is in a crisis or a challenging time, and there are always going to be challenging seasons in our lives. No matter what we do, life's going to come our way.
Yeah.
And and what Sashikant said is so true because we can forget that this partner is our partner. This is our number one cheerleader in life, the person that has chosen to do life by our side and that we chose the same. And to remember it's a team. We are a team. So even when we're feeling completely sort of maybe insecure, worried, stressed, is to turn to that person rather than away from them and say, babe, this is how I'm feeling. And remember that you're in a team. And that in itself is an act of self love because you're giving yourself a voice in that space and you're giving yourself your partner by reaching out to them and not pushing them away. Pushing your partner away, that's not self love. So, yeah.
No. No, I believe so. When you push partner away, it's a self punishment. It really is because you rob yourself from happiness, you rob yourself from the joy, you rob yourself from enjoyment. Right? The next part of our conversation is about how to enjoy marriage, and you definitely cannot enjoy marriage by pushing your partner away. You're not gonna
Absolutely.
do it.
Yeah,
You're not
and
gonna.
it is natural. We've seen it with ourselves
Yeah.
and with each other. It's natural when we feel threatened to push somebody away, and that comes from so many. That can come from childhood stories. It can come from experiences in adulthood. It is something that human beings do, but to remember that that is, as you just said, a form of self punishment, and yes, bring some reality back and say sometimes relationships do evolve into a place where it's time to separate. So my ex-husband and I are really, really good friends. We love each other deeply. We always will, but we're not marriage material anymore. Our
Mm.
journey together took us on a different path. Um, so yes, sometimes there is reality and couplings uncouple. Absolutely. However, that doesn't necessarily need to be the first port of call. And for a lot of people, that's what it is. It's like, I'll push you away, I'll push you away, I'll push you away. And when I've done that enough times, I'll just be convinced that
Mhm.
this relationship should never have happened and it
Mm.
needs to come to an end. And that's not always the case. And as you say, getting to the next part of enjoyment, remembering to have fun with ourselves and with our partner makes the world of difference as well and goes a long, long way to resolving conflict and getting through the tough times.
Love that, love that. And it is about, at the end of the day, resolving and making things stronger, right?
Mm.
Because every situation, discussion, or an argument, whichever you want prefer to call it, for me, it's always a discussion. It's not an argument. It's a sign of you just not going the same direction. It's a
Mm.
sign of you just disagreeing on something and you learning about each other different points of views, right?
Yeah.
So why we have to look at this as an argument and the end of the world? It just means he or she came with one setup of how it should be, and you came with another setup how it should be.
Mhm.
And now you're learning about each other. So going
Yeah.
back to what you said, Diana, earlier on, it's about partnership, just like in the business. If you would have a business meeting with your business partners and somebody would propose something, that would be not because they wanted to harm you. That was because that was their opinion based on their knowledge and expertise and the way and the vision what they have for the future. But to accept it or not, it's always up to the discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also where the fun can come in, Olga, because what an opportunity is when like you mentioned business partners, and I love I love using business as an analogy because it's so business is so logical. So you
Yes.
can come two partners to a table, one has one idea, one has the other idea, and what it becomes is an interesting, exciting opportunity for growth for the business. So if you look at marriage as a business, and you've got two partners, when there are two different ideas, it's the same thing. It can really be the same thing, an exciting, interesting opportunity. So, as you said, learning about the other person and sometimes learning about yourself. I had an interesting thing the other day, a conversation with Cornelius, my husband, and I realized that actually my stance that I was taking might not be my stance anymore. Because I was listening to him and I thought, well, that's quite interesting. Then I thought, well, maybe I need to actually just check in here. Do I still believe this completely? Or am I willing to shift on this? And what a nice opportunity to grow again. Because I realized that over time, I've been holding on to that idea, but it had actually shifted. But it's about staying open to that. And what fun. And the relief in that is also great. Because when we hear from somebody else and we're hearing from ourselves at the same time, it's accepting who we really are. And so there's great relief there.
Yeah. Love that. And self-love does come from accepting yourself the way you are. I remember I had
Definitely.
a discussion with a friend of mine, and she said, "Oof, right now I really don't feel myself. I feel like I really want to do many things, but I can't because I just don't feel myself. I put too much weight. And before I go out anywhere or before I allow myself to date somebody, I would like to lose some weight. And I would like
Mm,
to go back to who I was before." And to me, that was just sounding like a massive junk. I was like,
mm,
whoa, why you have this condition to yourself? That why you
mm.
have to be a certain way before you meet somebody? Right? Why you
Yeah,
have to have these conditions that you have to lose some weight for you to love yourself and accept yourself? And she was absolutely full of conditions. And it's quite challenging sometimes when you hear people saying this stuff. And as you know, Diana, when you work with a client one to one, it's easy, right? Because then you say, that's interesting self-talk there, right? Would you like to re-listen to this on your recording, right? At least this is how I work. But when it
yep.
comes to your friends, you're sitting there like, okay, that's definitely negative self-talk here. Right? And you
Mm,
can't really jump and coach your friend because you are a friend. And but she'll
mm,
still I share with her my point of view that she does have so many conditions about her
mm.
own self-appearance and self-image. And that resentment to love herself is pushing other people away. Because if she doesn't
Absolutely.
accept herself 100%, as you said yourself, kind of like acceptance, that unconditional acceptance will lead to self love. So if she doesn't
Mm.
accept herself 100%, how she can love herself?
Absolutely, Olga. And you know that you've mentioned your friend who's literally holding herself back from having joyful experiences by putting all those conditions on herself, which is self-judgment. Um, and and what I've seen in marriages is that the minute there's more attention to self-love, and that is consistent, and there's acceptance of self, it opens all the pathways for more intimacy, and that is on every level. So intimacy physically, intimacy emotionally, intimacy of ideas, like we were talking about just now, being able to share thoughts even when they're not the same as each other. And those connections just get stronger and stronger. And that definitely comes from self acceptance. The minute one of you says, I am enough, I am okay, I am worthy as I am, that energy is part of the partnership. It becomes part of the marriage, and it's really, really tangible. And both of you will feel it. And the response from your partner, I think, especially anyone who has body issues, can relate to this because that can often be a stumbling block. And you mentioned your friend, I want to lose weight first. Um, just practicing accepting where you are right now and loving yourself, because every ounce of fat on your body and the state of every muscle and the state of every bone is a result of the life you've led. And the life that every single one of us has led is based on decisions that seemed right to us in the moment. And yes, there's always chance for improvement. Always, I believe that. However, it has to start with full acceptance of me as I am in this moment. Then I can look at what do I want to improve and how can I do that in a loving way. And as soon as I'm in that space, the person that I'm with picks up on that. And then that is reciprocated. That acceptance and that adoration just goes up. And I've experienced this myself firsthand. I've tasted it where I've noticed myself being hard on myself with my self talk. And I've looked at the two of us together, and then I've shifted my inner critic. I've shifted that voice, and I've gone into self-love space. And the result, the turnaround in my partner is almost immediate. It's actually quite astounding. So yeah, I love experimenting with that. As soon as I notice me doing that to myself, and I go back into acceptance, back into love zone, the love just bubbles up. So yeah, how
I love that. I love, and I think what you are referring right now to is from other point of view, we can look at this as when children are happiest in the family, when parents are the happiest, right? They don't look for a perfect parent. They're looking for those happy eyes that their parent will have, right? So the same happens with us. If we are not happy within ourselves, then unfortunately inner child is not projecting that happiness, and other partner is noticing that. Another
mm,
partner start thinking, maybe not even consciously but subconsciously, is something wrong with me? Just like a child,
mm,
when something is wrong with a parent, when they're sad, upset, that child is thinking, oh, it must be my fault. I've done
yeah.
something wrong,
And
right?
even if those thoughts are not conscious, it's
Yes,
happening in the subconscious. Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, so that's why it's really, really important to remember that it's not like you will raise your self-love and you should do something extra. No, it will be automatically reciprocated because of
Yes.
your projection of that love, because it will be effortless, because it will be, you'll be just like that shiny sun in the sky, right?
Oh,
You'll be just shining that through, and people will be feeling blessed being in your environment, and that will want to do good with you and for you because they'll be shining that love through you. That's why when you look
absolutely.
at people who are truly, truly happy and fulfilled with themselves, within themselves, you can feel that from them,
Yes,
right? You
that
can
is so
tell
true.
that, right?
Hmm. That
So
is so true, Olga. It is. It really is. And I think when we use words like, energy, some people go, "Oh, what are they talking about?" But it's so true what you're saying. It is literally human beings pick up from each other, and we pick it up. And like you said, it's that light in the eyes. It's the energy of love and acceptance that
yes,
is tangible to others, and especially to those closest to us. Yeah. And that
absolutely.
comes back to enjoyment. And it comes back to a simple question of what do I enjoy? What brings me joy? What lights me up? Or silly things like, planning things for each other and thinking, well, what would I like to do? And then chances are it'll be fun to do together. And also to remember that if your partner doesn't want to do something and you do, you still get to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're married doesn't mean that you have to do everything together. Sometimes one of you will want to lie on the couch and watch Netflix, and the other one will want to go on a bike ride to the coast. And you know what? That's okay.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I love that. And I think we should remember that our partners are not our shadows. They
Yes.
don't have to be with us all the time. They have individual lives, individual opinions, and individual things, what they would like to do, what they wouldn't like to do. But you're
Yeah.
right, when you bring joy more into what do I want to do, what do I enjoy, then automatically partner would like to try it with you. And I'll give this simple example from my own marriage. When I met with my husband Manel, he was not into meditations. Not at
Mm.
all. It was not his thing. He never done it before. Even spirituality was quite a stranger topic for him. Very, very strange. So he didn't know anything about that. But then when we met, I was me being me. I was meditating, doing my yoga, whatever, doing my things because I was in my joy and bliss of traveling and stuff like that. And I said once or twice to him, "I'm going to meditate. Will you join me?" He was like, "No," especially for a guy.
Yeah.
Meditation, no. Right? And then a couple of more times I was like, but I would come after meditation and I would just feel so joyful and so calm, as you know, right? You feel so aligned. You feel, and you have some ideas coming through, and you channel something, and you have all this excitement. That few times down the line, when I offered to him to do it again, he was like, "Okay, I'll try it. What
Yeah.
do I have to do?" I was like, "Oh, pretty much nothing. You just sit and relax." And he loved the idea. Oh, I don't have to do anything. Okay, that's good. And the truth is, now he enjoys it himself, and now we meditate together. And now he has his own channeling information coming through, and I have my own, and then we discuss it, and that becomes a whole new, different experience at a whole new level for us. So you
There we
see,
go.
sometimes you will offer some things to your partner, and they'll be like, "What's that?" It's okay. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It's okay what you offer is not right. It just means they never did it before. So be
Yeah.
gentle. Respect
Mm,
their choice just like they respect yours. Okay?
mm.
And the truth is, if they will see how much you enjoy that, they will do it as well. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay? But back to what Diana said, it is about bringing the joy to yourself, and that will bring enjoyment into your marriage.
Yeah. And I think the key words that you used is not to expect our partner to be our shadow. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Because two beautiful individuals who are self sustaining and self loving and having their own fulfilled life of joy and satisfaction and fulfillment will be able to come together and create that more together with each other. Rather than if you're looking to the other person to always be bringing all the answers or the solutions or everything. It's just great if we two beautiful individuals coming together is powerful. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's beautiful journey. It's a beautiful dance when people are just uniting in this beautiful uniqueness and
Mm,
ambience, really. So it's really, really nice. But you know,
mm,
Diana, I heard something what potentially we could discuss maybe next month. And I think that will be quite triggering. So I would like people to embrace themselves because we discussed
yeah.
a little bit the appearance, right?
Hmm.
And self-love. And
Yeah.
as we both know, that whenever people have lack of self-love and lack of self-love worth, it always shows up in our body
Yeah.
because we stop taking care. So what I would like to propose, and I'm saying this openly just to see what other people think about this discussion as well for the next time, I would like to propose a discussion on self-love and excessive weight.
Oh, I love that, Olga. Yes, that can be very triggering.
Ooh,
Um, I
yeah,
love that you picked up on that because, I love working with body and body stuff and
yeah.
body issues and body stories. So I think that's an exciting topic. I would love to hear what other people think of it as well. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
So bear
mm,
with us because next month, first week, we're going to be here with us talking about self love and excessive weight. Okay.
mm,
It might trigger some of you, and it's okay. Some of you
mm.
might feel offended, and it's okay. If we feel like that, it means there's something not healed. So I guess that'll be quite powerful for you to hear. But Diana will be here to share with you what she knows and her expertise on self-love and when it comes to body work. And I know, Diana, that you have an amazing program when it comes to body. What was it called? Goddess Body?
Yeah, I've changed it to God X with an X at the
Oh, tell us more. Please
end.
tell us more.
Because body issues have traditionally been assigned gender, and they're really actually not gender specific at all. If you're a human being, it's very possible to have body issues. It's very possible to carry excess weight. It's very possible to struggle with self love because of your body, no matter who you are. So I shifted the name to it's called Embody, so that just implies coming home to your skin, and it's called Embrace Your Godex Body in 7 days. So it's really open to everybody. Um, the language is I've tried to make it gender neutral so that it works for everybody, and I'm quite excited to chat about that. On the point of triggering, yes, there is always a possibility of triggering and my strategy for triggers is when something triggers me, I run towards it because, again, like we've been discussing, it's another opportunity. It's an opportunity to know myself better and to accept myself where I'm at. So even though it's scary sometimes and I don't want to because it's like, no, 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 I still run towards it because I've learned that that's where I grow and that's where I can really get to accept and love myself deeper.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm so looking forward to speak about this topic, self-love and excessive weight, because I'm sure there will be quite interesting opinions coming through in the public comments. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to either send us a private message to Diana or myself. We're both on social media. Just reach out to us, or send us an email. Again, the details are out there and will be also below the videos. But looking forward to speak to you next month, first week of the month. And Diana, would you like to share with people also how they can get in touch with you if they would like to work on their self love with yourself?
Absolutely. The most direct route to me is through my website, which is dianagrant.com. And there is an easy to use booking button there. You can just book coffee and a chat with me, and we can chat about it. Because there are so many ways to work with me. There's one on one coaching, there's group coaching, there are programs that you can do by yourself. So, yeah, reach out, connect with me. I'd love to hear from you. And I do look forward to it. I'm passionate about self love.
And I know you are. And what's amazing that you walk the talk. This is the best thing you can get from somebody with whom you when you work with them. As if they walk the talk, then you are there for transformation. Okay, so Diana is definitely the one who walks the talk. So reach out to Diana to work on yourself, love, so you can have a much more blissful life.
Thank you, Olga, and thank you for today. Another great chat. Yeah.
Another great chat. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Hopefully, everybody who was watching us today enjoyed it too. We had some people from different countries. Thank you so much for letting us know where you were joining us from. If you're watching this on a replay, please do let us know where you're joining us from and make sure you share this video with somebody whom you really, really love so they can improve their self love level within themselves as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so very much, and we'll see you next month. Take care.
Bye.